Hola. Welcome everyone to our YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about artificial intelligence for the public government sector with a very respected professor from KU University in Belgium. Welcome, Professor Joep.
Thank you.
Professor Joep Crompvoets. Professor, how can we talk about the relationship between public sector operations and the artificial intelligence?
Thank you very much for your interesting question. It is a very hot topic at the moment. It's almost a hype at the moment, but we are, because as all the other emerging technology, we would like that it sets the ground of this, and that I think it is very challenging to do that. But I think still we are in a stage of infancy regarding the implementation of AI in the government. The government is interested in it, but still when we look worldwide level, the government has not adopted so far a lot of AI technologies, mainly chatbots and this kind of things, quite the simple ones, but not very advanced ones.
Okay. You are very well known for your research in the spatial domain, information management domain, and now for the artificial intelligence domain. So, based on your experience, are there many research in this topic, or is still lacking of research?
It's really shocking when we see about the number of publications about AI that are publishing at the moment is tremendous. It's really what I said is a hype. So it's really a lot of them. But when we look to the AI usage or the role of the government in AI, then it's very limited, and there's only less than 0.5% of all the publications somehow has affinity with the topic of AI and the public sector, which is a little bit strange because the government is an important sector worldwide as well.
So, can we say that AI is not focused at the moment? It's not focused on development, because the government is the key actor to push development for the society.
Yeah, but the government, the problem is what I said, AI is a hype, and for me, when something is a hype, what's then the role of the government in this? And the government is always, should not really invest in general about technologies that is a hype. Only when it's technology, when it is really settled, when it is really productive, when it becomes mainstream, then it is wise to invest in artificial intelligence.
Professor Joep, based on your research, have you and your team identified any challenges for the government implementation of artificial intelligence?
It's huge. The challenges are tremendous. I think, for example, the legal cases, for example, about liability, security, copyright, intellectual property, all the things are a challenge. We have the issue about ethical, how to deal with all this information. That's already a challenge. Also, the issue about technology is still not solved, so it's also a technical challenge. We see also a financial challenge as well appearing, because it has a price, and that's really the issue. This project has a price, and the government do not want to invest and cannot invest much in technologies that might fail, and that's what is a characteristic of the government, that they cannot really invest so much in this technology. So that is quite challenging, and therefore I think the government is rather reluctant to invest in it. But I would like also to say I do not like so much when we talk about artificial intelligence, because it is an agglomerate of different types of technologies. It is we have robotics, we have machine learning, we have LLM, this kind of things, the language models and this kind of things. So it's really a series of different tools. So to generalize everything under the number of the name of AI, I found it a little bit exaggerating.
So it sounds like more regulation is needed or policy needs to be changed. Is that correct?
That is very correct. I think when we see in the European Union, we had just a couple of months ago finally adopted a law about AI, the AI Act, and that is really was quite challenging. Several years ago, they tried to have an AI Act, but then a ChatGPT appeared, and that was really was shocking because that appeared that we really had to revise all the legislation again, and that is the problem with the government. They would like to set the line. They would like to develop policies, partly based on AI, but they are also reluctant on what's allowed to do it, and they would like. And at the moment, we see such a big difference between the private sector that can invest in all this technology, meanwhile the public sector, because they have their commitments and to use the taxpayers' money wisely, therefore they are more reluctant to do that, Gregorio.
So, how about the data? Is there enough data to develop the AI, or there are lacking of information from the public, from the government, private sector, and so on?
Thank you very much for this quite nice question and relevant question. But here we see actually a big difference in the world. We see in the more developed world there is an abundance of data. I have heard that, for example, that only a figure of 0.5% of all the data that we currently collect are ever analyzed. But then we have in the developing world that there is the digital divide, and there is in some areas almost no data available. So that is so in one area they are swimming in all these data, and other parts of the world there's almost no data. So it is not so black and white. I think there's a big difference in this, and that's something which I'm quite concerned about. But therefore, that needs a lot of attention to invest in that.
So, if you mentioned some one topic very interesting is the digital divide. So let's talk a little bit about the developing countries. Is there any opportunities, or have you identified in your research any opportunity for the developing country to take advantage of AI to push forward for the development?
Also a good question, Gregorio. Yes, there is a study of PricewaterhouseCoopers, and they had a study about what's the productivity by making use of AI, and how much will the society or the GDP gain from it. And we see North America will gain by really intensively adopt AI, but the economy will increase with 15%. In Europe, it's only 10%. And then we have, for example, Latin America is only 5%, so there's a big difference. And in Africa, even to 3%. But there are gains, but we have to use it in a wise way, and not to really also be the divide, not in between countries, but also we have to use it that within a country that it is also wisely used, and not to get an elite group using all this data and other people are not having access to this data, and to making beautiful algorithms and these kind of things of it.
So how about the academic offer to teach people to use AI around the world? If you identify any leading or university or research center that is pushing for the AI for the development.
And that's really a master course, and there the students have the possibility to know what are the benefits, but also the limitations of AI for the government. So I think there's a lot of potential there, but we have to be also think about it, how AI could be really used by enhancing the public values, because that's the main topic. For me, it's very important that when we invest in AI, that AI is just a tool in order to achieve a public value. And that is for me the most important. The other ones are interesting, but are just the tools that lead to enhancing the public values of the government.
Thank you so much, Professor Yu. Thank you for your attention to this YouTube channel.